Hello everyone, this is Ms. Smith, and the purpose of this video is to provide the overview for the argumentative research essay. Let's get started. So first of all, what is a research paper? Well, the research paper or research essay is a high-level academic writing that requires the writer to incorporate original thought, critical thinking, and credible sources in a composition to argue or analyze a particular topic. Okay? Research papers are thesis driven and should be supported by academically rigorous evidence. So you're taking a topic, you're taking a side on that topic, and then you're trying to convince your reader, persuade your reader that your position on the topic is correct. Right? Of course, your topic needs to be arguable. You need to, as I just said, employ critical thinking. You need good reasons and good evidence. And you may need to include some background information also to educate yourself and also to bring your reader into the conversation that already exists about your topic. Okay? But you're trying to make an argument in your essay that will be convincing to your reader. So what type of research paper are you writing? Well, like we just said, it's an argumentative research paper, okay? So we just already talked about some of the tenets of what that means. And so what a research paper is not. It's not a narrative essay, and it's not an informative essay in nature. Okay, so whereas with the narrative, you're reflecting on an event, probably a past event, something that's happened in your life. Um, and with an informative essay, you would be making the case for both sides of the argument, right? With equal weight, with equal merit. That's not what you're doing here. With an argument paper, you're trying to convince your reader, to persuade your reader, that your position on the argument is the best position. You're trying to persuade them that your point of view is the correct point of view. Okay? So it's not just you presenting both sides of the argument equally. You're trying to slant it to where you want your argument, your side of the argument to win out. It's also not an opinion paper. Okay, so we talked about this in the previous video or in another video where we talked about argumentative, academic argumentative writing versus what we call persuasive writing. Well, it's the same type of thing with an opinion paper. Okay, and so an opinion paper is just your opinion. It's just exactly whatever you think about the topic, and it does not include credible evidence or well-supported points, right? And so you want to make sure in your research essay that you are finding credible academic sources, and you're using that to support the claims that you are making. Well, you need a works cited page. Well, of course. You want to use MLA format to properly cite sources in your essay. Okay, you need a works cited page, but you also need to include in-text citations. So I will provide you with a video and with information on how to do that. You want to make sure that you do that, because if you do not have those things, you risk plagiarism. And plagiarism is a very, very serious offense. It's an academic integrity offense. And so you want to make sure that you are using MLA format properly. MLA format can be a little bit daunting at first, but it's more annoying, honestly, than it is difficult. Okay, it's more tedious than it is hard to do. So you'll just have to apply yourself to getting the format right for MLA. Okay, but I am here to help you if you have questions. Will this assignment be the death of me? I don't think so. No one has died yet from the research essay. Now you may want to, run, like I said, screaming in the opposite direction, but this assignment is a good one. And it's a really good assignment because if you know how to make a solid argument, you can use that skill anywhere. You can use it in the workplace. You can use it in other arenas as well. And so what you do in this assignment for this class goes beyond the borders of this class. You can take the skills that you will hone in this assignment, and then you can apply it in other areas of your life. It's a very valuable skill. So what's the first step? The first step in writing a research paper is to select your topic. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to choose a topic from one of our databases. We'll talk about the databases in another video, but I want you to choose a topic from one of our databases. So specifically from the SIRS database, the Opposing Viewpoint database, or the Points of View database. Okay, they will give you possible topics and then they will support those topics with a lot of information. It will make your lives easier. Okay, that's my goal. It will make your lives easier. Okay, when you submit your outline and thesis statement for this assignment, at that point in time, I will get to see what your topic is, and it will give me an opportunity to approve or disapprove your topic choice based on the strength of your thesis statement and your supporting points. Okay? Now, I don't want you to use overdone or overused topics on highly controversial issues, okay? Including, but not limited to, abortion, immigration, legalizing marijuana, gay rights, affordable health care, the death penalty, and others. Okay? There are some topics that students' minds tend to go to immediately when we think of making an argument. I want you to have fun with this essay. You can choose a topic that is controversial but not overdone. Okay? But I do want you to think about something that may be out of the box a little bit. Something that you can make an argument on that you would enjoy researching, right? Enjoy learning about. And again, when you choose a topic from those databases, there will be a wealth of topics there that you can choose from. And so maybe that'll kind of spark your thoughts about some other possibilities with your topics, okay? And so are there other resources that will help me understand this assignment? Yes, absolutely. So our library staff can be helpful. Now, if you're not on campus a whole lot, but you are near a local library, your local library can also be of assistance as well. Okay, the librarian there may be able to assist you and provide you with some direction on this type of assignment. Of course, I'm here to help you as well. I will include a link to the English 1 Composition LibGuide. We call it a LibGuide, which contains access to all the databases that I mentioned before, and there will be a video also on how to use those databases. Okay? And so our essay guidelines. This is a 4 to 7 page essay, not including the works cited page. So you need to have a minimum of 4 pages in this argumentative research essay in addition to your works cited page. You need to follow MLA format, including a 4-line heading at the top left of your paper that includes your name, the class we're in, the date, and then the assignment version. You need to have in-text citations in your essay. Again, we will discuss that in another video this week. You need to have a works cited page, as I said. Your entire essay should be double-spaced in 11 or 12 point standard font. You want to include a title for your essay. Okay? You must select one topic, one arguable topic, as the basis for your research paper, and submit all related writing assignments. Now, you will also do an annotated bibliography, and we will talk about that at another time. But then you also, of course, have your thesis statement outline document. You'll have a rough draft, and then you'll have a final draft that you will have to submit. And refer to the rubric, okay? There's a rubric for the research essay and a rubric for the annotated bibliography. And of course, you want to follow the writing process. So let's talk briefly about credible sources. You need to pull your sources. Any online source needs to come from one of our databases through OC Tech, okay? So you cannot go to Google or Bing or wherever you search and search for information on the internet for this assignment. You cannot do that. The only online sources you can use must come from the OC Tech Library database. Again, my goal in this is to make your lives easier. You don't want to just do a general search on the internet and come up with information that won't be credible. The database takes the guesswork out of that. The database makes your life easier. Everything that's included in these databases you can use. Okay? It's already been vetted, it's already been checked for academic use, and it is credible. The databases may also contain access to websites. So if you access a website from the database, you can use that website. Okay, you just cannot go on your own for looking for online sources. Now you must have 6 to 8 sources for this essay. At least 4 of those sources must come from the OC Tech Library database. Okay, you need 6 to 8 sources. At least 4 of them must come from the OC Tech Library database. All of them can come from the OC Tech Library database. That would be fine, but at least 4 of them must come from the database. And so in terms of credible sources, you can use books, including ebooks. You can use magazine articles from credible publications. You can use academic journal articles. We probably will not use a lot of academic journal articles. Academic journals are written by professors who are experts in their field, and they tend to be written to other professors at other schools who are also experts in the same field. So as a result, they don't tend to go into the background of a subject because they all kind of know that information already. So they start their conversations at a higher level. And if we don't have that same level of expertise, we'll be lost, right? We won't understand it. And so academic journal articles will be included in the databases, and you will come across them. But just keep in mind that they're probably not going to be anything that you can use. You can always check it out to see if there's any information in there that's relevant, but keep in mind that you may not be able to use it just because of the nature of academic journals. Okay, you can use websites from the OC Tech Library database, and you can use a primary source. So you can conduct an interview, but you can only use one interview as a part of your sources for this essay. So if you see where it's useful to interview someone who may be related to your topic, you can do that, but you can only incorporate one interview as a part of your sources. Okay? Sources with little to no credibility include Wikipedia, most blogs, a general Google search, or some other search engine, and websites that don't offer authoritative information. Okay, these websites are usually based on opinion, or they are trying to sell you a product or service. Okay, or they may just be very much slanted to one side, okay, of an issue, and they're not actually being very objective. And so those are sources that you don't want to use. You want to avoid those. So if you have questions, please let me know. But this is our assignment overview. We're writing a 4 to 7 page argumentative research essay. And I look forward to reading your work. And again, if you have questions anywhere along the way, please let me know.